This new Tic Tac video hasn't just wowed the American public. It was even shared with Navy aviator David Fravor, who encountered the first Tic Tac back in 2004. He said he was stunned by the similarities.
In a discovery shocking experts worldwide, divers have uncovered what appears to be Pharaoh's lost army, buried beneath the Red Sea. Chariot wheels, human bones, and war gear lie frozen in coral, forming a massive underwater graveyard. If true, this could rewrite biblical and Egyptian history forever. The underwater discovery. In late 2024, a privately funded team of divers, underwater archaeologists, and engineers set out on a mission unlike any before. Backed by over $10 million, their target wasn't treasure or wreckage, but something far more mysterious. Deep beneath the Gulf of Aqaba, a narrow arm of the Red Sea, their search zone was mapped with military precision. Unlike typical archaeological digs, this operation relied on side-scan sonar, hypersensitive magnetometers, and military-grade ROVs equipped with 4K cameras. The goal? To scan the seabed not for ships, but for patterns. Within weeks, the sonar returned something strange. Perfectly symmetrical formations. Long rows of circular objects, evenly spaced and oddly uniform. Not random debris, not rocks. The footage from the ROV confirmed what many thought impossible. Encrusted shapes that looked like wheels, aligned in long lines, some half buried in sediment, others rising from coral beds like fossilized memories. "These aren't scattered remains," said the expedition lead, staring at the screen. "It's a formation. It's a path." What they found wasn't just ancient machinery, it was a story told in silence, frozen beneath layers of time and salt. As the images became clearer, the mission moved into its second stage, documenting what the seabed had truly been hiding for centuries. The evidence on the seafloor. What lay beneath the waves wasn't a single wreck, but a debris field stretching nearly 1.5 miles, as if a line of machines and men had been caught mid-charge and drowned in place. The wheel shapes were varied, some with 4 spokes, others with 6 or even 8, matching the designs used by New Kingdom Egyptian chariots, each type representing a rank or role within a structured army. Among the coral-encrusted metal were twisted axles, frame pieces, and the faint outlines of once wooden chariot bodies. The wood had vanished over time, but coral had grown around them, creating natural ghosts of war chariots preserved by biology. Scattered through the wreckage were fragments of bronze and copper. Some pieces were fused into the seabed. Others dangled loosely, pulled gently by underwater currents. The deeper they searched, the clearer the story became. Divers found skeletal remains, fragments of human bones, horse skulls, ribs, and even spines. Many were aligned as if still locked in motion, in harness positions, frozen at the moment of chaos. And then, in one frame, barely visible beneath layers of coral, what looked like a faint golden sheen, possibly a gold-plated wheel, untouched and intact. The kind of artifact that could belong only to a general or even a pharaoh. "We're not looking at scraps," one diver reported. "We're looking at a battlefield." And it was a battlefield untouched by looters or time, preserved by the sea itself. As they expanded the scan, another clue came into view, a geographical structure that might explain everything. That's where the next chapter begins. The geography that makes it possible. Stretching beneath the Gulf of Aqaba, near Nuweiba Beach on the Egyptian coast, lies a strange feature, an underwater land bridge. This isn't folklore. It's a real, measured plateau that connects the Sinai Peninsula to modern-day Saudi Arabia. While most of the Red Sea floor plummets into 5,000 to 6,000-foot canyons, this bridge-like structure remains relatively shallow, peaking at around 900 feet deep. In geological terms, it's an anomaly, an underwater highway between continents. And that highway may have been the very path an ancient Egyptian chariot army once tried to cross. The artifacts discovered, wheels, axles, bones, form a clear linear pattern. They don't drift off randomly like the spread of a sunken ship. Instead, they follow this submerged trail almost precisely, as if hundreds of chariots were moving across this underwater corridor and then abruptly stopped. On either side, the seabed drops away into a deadly abyss, making escape impossible if something were to go wrong in the middle. Geologists studying the sonar data noted that this land bridge, while deep, acts like a trough between two massive drops. That means when waters recede or rise, through natural or unknown forces, they could expose just enough land to seem crossable, while still carrying the risk of sudden disaster. More importantly, this bridge has protected the site. Currents, storms, and even modern human interference have had little effect here. The plateau's structure acts like a sheltering basin. Coral, rather than erasing the past, has preserved it, encasing wood, metal, and bone in a tomb of calcium. People forget how quickly the ocean can seal a secret, one marine biologist noted during the study. But sometimes, that's what keeps history intact. And it's not the first time someone believes something important lay here. In fact, nearly 50 years ago, a man made similar claims, long dismissed by science, but now seeming oddly ahead of his time. The old claims resurface. In the late 1970s, a man named Ron Wyatt, an amateur explorer and nurse anesthetist by profession, claimed he had found something extraordinary in the same waters of the Gulf of Aqaba. Using basic diving gear, Wyatt reported seeing wheel-shaped coral formations, bones, and other strange artifacts, claims that were quickly brushed off by the scientific community. He had no academic background in archaeology. His documentation was unrefined. He had no peer-reviewed research. But he had something else: coordinates. The 2024 team, after carefully analyzing old notes and expedition maps, realized that their sonar grid aligned almost perfectly with the sites Wyatt had marked decades earlier. What was once dismissed as a hoax now seemed like a blueprint for a major discovery. The same underwater land bridge, the same linear debris field, the same location. It's either the biggest coincidence in marine archaeology, said one team leader, or Ron Wyatt found it first and no one listened. His original findings, while lacking in academic rigor, were now being validated by cutting-edge equipment and high-resolution imaging. And yet, Wyatt never saw mainstream acceptance in his lifetime. His work was mocked, ignored, and forgotten. Until now. As this expedition confirms what was once laughed off, it also raises uncomfortable questions. How many other claims, dismissed as pseudo-history, might contain grains of truth? And what does it mean when the past returns, not through textbooks, but through the slow echo of metal and bone beneath the sea? The silence from official institutions is starting to grow louder. Because if Wyatt was right, the implications go far beyond one man's legacy. The academic shockwave. When word of the underwater chariot remains began circulating in early 2025, the reaction from academic circles was far from celebratory. Instead of headlines and conferences, there was silence. For decades, Egyptologists have maintained that there is no archaeological evidence supporting the story of a drowned Egyptian army pursuing a fleeing population, especially not in this region or context. The narrative of the Exodus, often viewed as allegory or religious tradition, was never considered a historical event by mainstream scholars. Now confronted with chariot wheels, human remains, and a 1.5-mile-long debris field, many institutions are left with a dilemma. If the site is real, and early evidence strongly suggests it is, it would challenge the core framework of how we understand the New Kingdom period, which spanned 1550 to 1070 BCE. Timelines would shift. Military deployment records would be questioned. Even the interpretation of ancient battle strategies and the use of 4-, 6-, and 8-spoke chariots would need review. But institutional momentum is hard to stop. University departments, museum exhibits, even textbooks, entire systems have been built on the assumption that no such event occurred. Admitting error, even in the face of new evidence, risks more than reputational harm. It threatens the structure of academic certainty itself. History isn't just about what we find, one anonymous Egyptologist remarked. It's about who's allowed to say what it means. With many scholars choosing caution over commentary, independent researchers are stepping into the vacuum. Some are calling for immediate peer-reviewed analysis, but others warn that national jurisdictions, deep water excavation costs, and academic resistance could delay formal recognition for years, if not decades. But even as papers are withheld and conferences remain quiet, the evidence on the seabed remains, unchanged, waiting. Because evidence doesn't care about careers. And as the silence builds, so does the need to understand what happened on that seabed. How could an elite force, one of the most powerful in its time, vanish so completely? The next set of clues lies not in theory, but in the arrangement of the wreckage itself. What the evidence suggests happened. The layout of the wreckage tells a very specific story. Chariot remains, metal fragments, and skeletal patterns stretch in a tight corridor, following the path of the underwater land bridge with almost eerie precision. It's not scattered like a naval wreck. It's not layered like an ancient settlement. It looks like a military column in motion, interrupted. Experts believe this was a large Egyptian chariot force, possibly numbering in the hundreds or more, moving across the submerged plateau. The formation suggests speed and urgency, possibly in pursuit. The human and horse remains, some still in apparent harness alignment, support that this was a force on the move when it was suddenly engulfed. So what happened? Theories vary. Some scientists point to a sudden natural disaster, a tsunami, perhaps, or a violent tidal drawback. Such events can expose land bridges briefly, luring people across before a massive wave returns with devastating force. Others note the possibility of seismic activity. Earthquakes beneath the Red Sea could have created sudden surges of water or collapses beneath the surface. Whatever the mechanism, the outcome is clear. The army was caught in a narrow zone with no escape route. The depths on either side made lateral movement impossible, and when the disaster struck, it left no survivors, only artifacts locked in sediment and coral. The chariot wheels found include designs associated with elite units, 4- and 6-spoke wheels for standard use, 8-spoke varieties possibly for generals or commanders. This wasn't a scouting force. It was a major deployment, and its destruction would have been a crushing blow to the Egyptian military machine, one somehow missing from the records. Everything about this feels like a frozen moment, one diver noted. Not just lost, interrupted. And what's most haunting? No clear historical mention of this massive military loss exists. No carved steles, no wall reliefs, no tomb records. Whatever happened out there, it was buried not only by the sea, but possibly by design. The big theories. With what appears to be a full Egyptian chariot corps beneath the Red Sea, the question becomes, how did they end up there? The most accepted theory points to a volcanic or seismic event, like the Pharaoh eruption around 1600 BCE, triggering a tsunami. Waters draw back, expose land, then crash back, wiping out an army mid-crossing. But the timing doesn't perfectly match New Kingdom Egypt. Other ideas push boundaries. Some suggest ancient technology, echoing Ron Wyatt's claim that the army chased a powerful object, possibly the Ark of the Covenant. In these versions, the sea didn't part naturally. It was manipulated. Another theory involves resonance collapse, vibrations making the underwater bridge appear stable until it suddenly failed. That might explain the sharp end to the debris trail. The simplest view, geography and timing. A seasonal low tide made the bridge seem crossable, but a sudden wave or surge trapped them with no escape. All theories agree on one point. Something catastrophic occurred. Yet the most baffling detail remains. How did the site stay untouched for 3,000 years? What's more impossible, one geophysicist asked? That it happened, or that we're only finding it now? And still, the evidence lies silent. Wheels, bones, and the shadow of an empire lost. The human and material cost. Beyond the Red Sea lies more than debris. It's a mass grave. Hundreds, maybe thousands of Egyptian soldiers and horses rest encased in coral, lost to time. This wasn't a small force. Chariots required bronze, specialized wood, trained horses, and elite warriors. The evidence points to a battle-ready division, likely tied to the Pharaoh's elite corps. Divers uncovered horse skulls, femurs, and jawbones locked in formation, as if frozen mid-charge. Scattered human remains, pelvises, skulls, and spines suggest roles and ranks. You can almost tell who was driving, one diver said. Coral preserved the scene. Wood vanished, but coral created casts of frames. Bronze and copper still shine in spots. Some areas show drag marks, hinting objects were moved by nature or hands. Strangely, no Egyptian records mention such a loss. No scrolls, no carvings. It's as if the event was erased, both physically and culturally. This silence raises hard questions. What was taken? Why is it missing from history? And what else lies hidden in the deep? This isn't just about wreckage. It's about memory, loss, and stories that were never meant to resurface. The threat of erasure and suppression. As more footage from the seabed reached analysts in mid-2025, something unexpected surfaced. Disturbance trails on the ocean floor. Long grooves in the sediment, some straight, some curving, showed signs that large objects had been moved, not by natural currents but likely by machinery. This raised a new and deeply troubling question. Has someone already tried to recover or conceal these artifacts? The original golden wheel, once described by Ron Wyatt as ornate and preserved, has never been officially displayed. No museum catalog, no academic archive lists it. And the latest expedition, despite uncovering dozens of encrusted wheels, failed to find that specific one. Either it was misidentified, lost, or quietly removed decades ago. International archaeologists now face legal and political roadblocks. The Red Sea's waters fall under complex jurisdictions, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and maritime boundaries that complicate excavation. Meanwhile, permits are stalled, and funding for deeper recovery remains in limbo. The deeper the investigation goes, the harder it gets to access the very site they helped expose. The physical risks are just as real. The site lies nearly 900 feet deep. Any prolonged excavation would require high-pressure dive systems, remotely operated tools, and extreme safety protocols. And even if that hurdle is crossed, there's no guarantee the findings would reach the public. Some within the scientific community have raised alarms. If this is truly a lost military force, the implications are global, said one archaeologist involved in early reviews. But the risk is, those implications may be too big. Religious, political, academic powers all have something to lose. And so the site sits in limbo, documented yet inaccessible, verified yet unconfirmed. A discovery that could shift our understanding of history, faith, and identity, but may quietly be buried again by the very institutions that claim to seek truth. What this means for our view of history. If the Gulf of Aqaba site is what it appears to be, then one of history's most controversial stories, the drowning of Pharaoh's army, moves from religious myth into physical fact. And that changes everything. It reframes the Exodus not as a tale, but as a geopolitical rupture, an actual historical moment with real human cost. The loss of a full chariot core, preserved in coral, suggests a defeat of stunning scale, yet completely absent from Egyptian records. That silence in itself tells us much about how empires record failure. It also shifts how we see underwater archaeology. No longer is discovery confined to dusty tombs or desert dig sites. This was found by a private team, armed not with trowels, but with sonar, ROVs, and high-resolution sensors. They operated outside academic channels and may have changed the game entirely. The question becomes, who writes the first draft of history, professors or explorers? And finally, it forces us to confront the blind spots in our global narratives. If this site remained hidden for over 3,000 years, what else is out there? Beneath polar ice, shifting deserts, or collapsed volcanoes, how many other events lie silent, waiting for the right eyes to find them? This isn't just about faith or history, one diver reflected. It's about memory, the memory of a world that almost forgot what happened. Whether one sees the parting of the sea as divine intervention, natural disaster, or lost technology, the remains speak louder than belief. Wheels, bones, and bronze are harder to debate than stories. And in their silence, they whisper something profound, that what we call myth may just be memory, misfiled. And perhaps, just perhaps, history's greatest army didn't vanish. It sank. Whether buried by water or silenced by time, this forgotten army has now resurfaced. The evidence is real, the implications enormous. As experts scramble to respond, one thing is clear. The Red Sea just whispered back a secret it's held for 3,000 years, and the world may never see history the same.